G'day my friends, Marty Ware here from Marty's Garden with Nature Does the Work podcast, episode number 5. Today we're talking about compost worms and which ones we should have. Now, there's a bit of a twist to this video podcast because I'm going to be saying something that, I don't know, some worm farmers will probably disagree, some will go, yeah, that's a great idea. Some people, some permaculturists, I don't know. This is just my thoughts, what I believe works as an agribusiness, horticulturist, and worm farmer, right? So, I'm going to throw a spanner in the works here. If you can breed every type of worm that you can that's possibly good for your area, so I'm lucky, I'm blessed in the subtropics here, I've pretty much can farm them all, then you're better off. And I'll let you know, I'm going to mention why. Now, let's put myself in the scenario here because I can really only share what I have experienced over the years and working, alongside other worm farmers and going to visit them and things like that. And like people like Permy Pete and the other guy who was sort of not far from here where I live now, who introduced me to it at the start. And, I just suck things in like a sponge. But what I found is that because we have like a mild winter here and like it's winter now and I could probably sit in a t-shirt, but it's just a little bit chilly, and I can pretty much have nearly every compost worm on the planet. Now some of them do better than others, and there's no doubt about that, but it's all about the season, see? So I've got all the blue, I've got the blues and the reds and all that type of stuff, without getting into the names of each one, but we'll just call them blues, reds, night crawlers, etc. Right now, let's just go into the reds, so tiger worms, red wrigglers, things like that. We're talking about common names. Sina fetida is the Latin name for the little the red ones, the tigers, whatever, the little yellow wispy tail on the end of the yellow dot. They're probably the most prolific all around the world because they can handle a variety of temperatures all around the world. So if you're only going to have one, that's probably the one to have. They're voracious eaters, great composters, produce a good casting, and you can't go wrong with them. But what I've done is and this has always been a recommendation from Permy Pete for years now, is been to have as many as possible. And he gives me a wide variety of worms each time. And I noticed that, say, the European nightcrawler in the winter time does really well. So I've got the African nightcrawler, which is a tropical worm. That one does really good in summer. And then the reds do really, really well through most of the year. And then the blues and different ones sort of fluctuate a bit, sort of here and there. But some of my most dominant worms that I've got probably would be the red tigers, and then would be the night crawlers, and then you see a few of the other ones scooting around, and sometimes I forget what they are, or I get them mixed up, or I need my glasses, I can't see, but you see them all bawling and stuff, and then it's pretty cool. So by having a wide variety of compost worms, not only in your garden beds and say your sub pods, your underground worm farms, your above ground worm farms, what I've been teaching here is having a mixture in there. And sometimes you'll find that one will dominate more than the other in another space, and in a worm farm, in a cooler spot, another species will dominate more than the other, and you learn more about them then, and you really get them working. So in summertime, my African night crawlers in my garden beds are just going, they're going up and down because they actually burrow a bit more than the other ones. The night crawlers just burrow a little bit more and they go down deep. I've seen them down around about 3 feet, so I'm meter down in my above ground worm farms, and they're definitely night crawlers. So they're going right down and burrowing, coming up, and I don't know why they're doing that, but I've read about it, I've spoken to other people and say, yep, they've had the same experience, but no one's told me that they go a meter deep in a compost pile, which maybe they get on the side of the, say, the black above ground farm, then go down the plastic side and then go in sideways or whatever, or they're going down because it's very friable and they're chasing the water or the temperature or whatever. And I found that the reds and the blues stay mostly sort of in that top 2 inches, so top, like around about yay deep, I guess, as hard as I can open my hand. So, but then, you know, you've got your 2-tier worm farms, and if they're hitting each other, you see them going down into the 2nd tier, and then even sometimes down to the 3rd tier. So that means they're going down, you know, 60 centimeters, or whatever that is in inches, I'm not sure. So that's what I recommend if, you know, you're going to let nature do the work, is to have as many varieties as you can, and don't worry too much if they, you know, unless you're just a worm farming enthusiast and you're breeding different species and things like that, then you're going to be farming differently. How I do it is to make amendments for my gardens, to add to compost that I'm selling, and to add to the garden, and to connect everything up, this whole biosystem that I'm putting together to connect up through the garden here, which I'm still linking up now, which is really, really exciting. And I don't think you've seen much of something like this on YouTube. So if you're listening to the podcast later on, you haven't been to my channel and this has been spread out to other places, you need to get back to Marty's Garden on YouTube and check this all out. And also we've got, you know, there's a playlist here for this podcast, Nature Does the Work podcast, and you'll be able to access the playlist at the end. So there'll be a screen at the end, and which will be around about here somewhere, and you'll also have like a card up above where you can get it. And there's all these different links down in the descriptions where you can get a sub pod where you can get 10% off. There's worm farming courses in the Worm Wranglers members area. There's different ways to support this channel if you can, because that's really helpful to keep things going, because YouTube pays virtually nothing. So yeah, anything that you can do to support this, and hopefully I'm giving you plenty of great info. Remember, there's links in the description. There's a video up here which probably just turned up around about now, and there's all stuff going on. Stay tuned, keep listening for the podcast, keep watching the videos, and we'll see you at the next piece of content real soon. Number 6 coming up. Oh, I can't believe I'm there already. Bye for now.